Hello everyone, how are we doing? We are live, and welcome to a special edition of GodSaw's Turnbuckle, the wrestling video podcast we run over here on youtube.com /UC Campbell. We're working on that. We are definitely working on that this time. And of course, why is this one special? Much like with the predictions earlier this week, this is more going to be focused around pay-per-view, which is, of course, last night was Wrestlemania 34. And let's leave it like this. It was one of those shows that I felt was very good to a certain degree. And, you know, it was one of those shows that, the matches themselves, they flowed well. I thought a lot of them were pretty good. A lot of them did exactly what they needed to do. But there was one thing. And yes, the Batman is back with a vengeance in the chat. But the one thing that I can go off and say is that I don't think it was the unpredictable nature of the show, but I felt like there were certain things missing about particular ones, but I'm not 100% certain on where I feel about certain things. But I can definitely go off and say that I felt like the show was good. But some of the matches, their outcomes came almost out of nowhere when you felt like they were truthfully... Oh, Batman is rolling in the chat today. You are rolling in the chat. But back into it, it's like it was one of those things that you felt like matches ended right as they were getting going. Right as they were really getting going. And you felt like they were going to go on a little bit longer. And then they just kind of done. We're out of here. Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody. So let's get right into it. The pre-show matches themselves. Pre-show matches, you got two battle royals in there, and then you had the cruiserweight title match that was in between both of them. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal went on first. Typical battle royal stuff. Punch, kick, all the fun stuff in the corner stuff. I enjoy battle royals, and to a certain degree, I kind of enjoyed both of these ones. To go along with it, I'll talk about the women's one after the cruiserweight title match. But the ending of this match had Woken Matt Hardy and Mojo Rawley and Baron Corbin. So they made it seem like you were going to get three different guys. Or it made it feel like you were going to get maybe a multiple winner. So you had three guys that were kind of in there. To go along with it, with all three of them, and then all of a sudden the lights go out, and Bray Wyatt shows up. So Bray Wyatt, not officially in the match, and it did leave you a little bit confused, because a lot of times people who show up in Battle Royals just unannounced, maybe even mid-match, technically are entered into the match at that time. We'll talk about that one. We'll talk about that bit a little bit later on, because if you watch live reactions last night on Twitch, that match was a lot of fun. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I will be interacting with the chat as much as I can today, but trying to keep on task here, because it is about 4 o'clock in Arizona right now, which means Raw goes on the air in about an hour. I want to try to have this done before Raw goes on the air. So... but again, Bray Wyatt comes out and you kind of, it's like, oh, is he part of the Battle Royal now? He looks like he's going to do the Sister Abigail to Mojo Rawley, but then does the bit where, like he did with Randy Orton, tosses him to Matt Hardy, and Matt throws him out. And then eventually he eats the end of days, and then Matt Hardy gets rid of Baron Corbin, and the match ends. So I felt like people were a little bit confused on the ending of a particular match, but you do get this posed in at the end. It seems as if Woken Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt are going to be teaming together, which could be interesting. The whole aspect of him coming back from the Lake of Reincarnation, like he has the apron on that he used to have a long time ago. You haven't really seen much of a change. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see what we get in the terms of his mannerisms, his speech, and actions to go along with that a little bit later on. So we'll see how that all plays out a little bit later. So this leads us into the Cruiserweight title match, which was Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali. And this match was good. It was a good match. But let's be fair. It did not get as much time as it probably needed to. It felt like you were getting to that point of... they were getting to that point in the match. It's like, hey, we're just getting to know you in this match. And they were going to keep going and keep going and keep going for a little while. But then it kind of ended. Which we're going to get this. We're going to get a lot of those tonight. A lot of good matches. But they ended abruptly. And this one did that as well. First of all, Mustafa Ali came out with like this Sub-Zero-esque mask, light up mask on. And he had like one of those little bits in the palm of his hand that made it seem like he was shooting out an ice ball out of his hand. A la Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. I thought it looked really cool. It was a really like good way of him having some kind of special thing going into a WrestleMania match, even though it was only in the pre-show. Nice little touch there. I like that. The match itself I thought was really good as well. You saw you saw a lot of different high-flying action between the two of them. Both of them were kind of laying it out there, but it just felt like they were just getting going. And then it ended with the lumbar check. I mean, you even had Cedric Alexander get the foot on the rope for a good tease, like early on in the match after and this was actually right towards the end of the match. A good tease where he gets the foot on the rope after getting hit with the reverse 450. And then Mustafa Ali goes for it again. He eats it there and then gets hit with a lumbar check and was done. Like I said, it was a good match, but it felt like they could have given it a little bit. It felt like it didn't, it didn't overstay its welcome, but it didn't stay long enough. It was one of those things. It felt like it should have been there for a little bit longer. But it was one of those things that, yeah, that one kind of ended abruptly. And like I said, a couple of these matches definitely do that tonight. So this brings us to the Women's Battle Royal. I don't think... This match itself was pretty good. It was decent enough. It was a Battle Royal. What do you expect? If you enjoy Battle Royals, you enjoy Battle Royals. I enjoy Battle Royals. I kind of enjoyed this one. You could definitely tell the fans were a little bit, they didn't like the fact that when Becky Lynch got eliminated pretty early on in the match. I did like the little story elements that they were putting in there. I liked the whole aspect that all the NXT women that showed up in there, which I think it was Kairi Sane, you have Peyton Royce in there, Dakota Kai was in there, Tianta Conti was in there. There was a couple of others to go along with it. I don't remember their names off the top of my head at this point in time. Oh yeah, Bianca Belair was in there as well. There was one other, and I don't remember their name, but they all teamed up for a little bit, and I liked how they got an NXT chant going. Bianca Belair even hits a 450 in the match to go along with it. And they did do little story elements, like they teamed up for a little while, and then eventually they started getting rid of everyone. You had the Riot Squad kind of teaming up as well, and Natalya thinking that she was teaming with them, but then all of a sudden, no, the Riot Squad gets rid of them. And then you have that ending after Bayley and Sasha kind of team up briefly to get rid of the Riot Squad, where Bayley kind of gets one over on Sasha, though, so she thinks. So everyone thinks that those are the last two in the match. And honestly, I think when we were watching it as well, it's like, oh, those are the last two. No one else was left. We felt like everybody else had been eliminated. And then, they go to shake hands, and then Bayley just chucks Sasha out of the ring and thinks she wins the match. But then, lo and behold, she turns around, realizing the bell hasn't rang yet, and all of a sudden, Naomi's back in the ring. She had not been eliminated yet. Catches Bayley with the rear view, I believe, and then throws her out of the ring. So they're getting to that point that this one-upsmanship between Bayley and Sasha Banks keeps costing them all the time, and it works here again in that sense. So it's like each one of them are trying to one-up each other in the terms of trying to get victories or anything like that, but it keeps costing them the victory in the end. So very well played. I kind of like the ending of the Battle Royal. I thought it came off good. I thought it came off pretty good. It came off decently enough. It wasn't overly exciting. You had nice little story elements in there, here and there. So I thought it came off decently enough to go along with. So let's rock this right into the main card. And they started off the main card with Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor versus The Miz for the Intercontinental title. And dude, the stuff that Seth Rollins had on tonight as well was really, really good. That night, like the pyro that he had for the everything for the burn it down, like just big flames coming out of the stage. His attire that he came out in, also the staging itself, really worked for a lot of the different wrestlers that were coming out, like especially with Seth Rollins in this one as well. Yeah, Naomi. Naomi wins the Battle Royal. That's right. But the match with Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and this starting off the show, I think it was a good way of starting off the show, actually, in the end. Because these three went out there and put on a pretty darn good match. I like the whole aspect of, you know, the Miz coming out. He initially has the Miz Taraj and then sends him to the back. I also like I did like this one a little bit. And if everything they've been doing with like all the popping up the words on the screen and everything on that side had been kind of a test for what they were doing tonight, then no, he should not have kept those eye contacts in. Apparently, from what I hear, those eye contacts that Seth Rollins was having in his eyes are actually extremely uncomfortable. It was a good idea that he took them out at like when the match started. For the reference, like Seth Rollins also had eye contacts in his eyes that made like his entire, like not just the retinas, but like the entire eye to make it look like it was blue. And it looked really cool, but apparently they're extremely uncomfortable. So he took them out before the match even started. So where were we going here? Oh yes, the on-screen graphics, the CG that they put together for the on-screen, we saw it throughout the night as well. Not only with Miz, but like with Asuka and a couple of and definitely with a couple of others. New Day had it as well, and the CG that they were putting up on the staging and everything like that came off really good. Like this production was really good. So if like this whole thing that they've been doing had been like a test, and it had always necessarily looked bad, but it was just like a test for what we got at WrestleMania, that was good. Like the CG stuff that they were throwing on there was really, really good on that side of everything. But let's rock this into the match. Let's rock this right into the match itself. This was a very fast-paced, well put together match. Like Seth and Finn and Miz worked very well together throughout the entire match. I liked the little nod that they had for Seth and Finn Balor, where they went to the outside, and again, it looked like Seth was going to do a buckle bomb to the barricade like he had done at SummerSlam. They went back and nodded that, but this time Finn counters it. Both Seth and Finn, you know, hitting the sling blade a few different times. It looked like you had Miz getting a pin at one point in time, but then Finn comes off the top rope with a coup de grace. You also have Seth Rollins break up a figure four with a frog splash in there. You had some really, really, really good things inside of this match, and honestly, this was one of the first matches that I was like, oh, I didn't expect that, because a lot of people were kind of expecting it to be Finn going over, and that they may have something different for Seth. But they had Seth go over, and I thought which was a very good spot at the end. So Seth broke up a pinfall attempt, and then curb stomps Finn Balor, and he hits the Miz, so knocking the Miz back down. So he curb stomps Finn into Miz, and then does the curb stomp to Miz to finish off the match and win the Intercontinental title. Very entertaining match, good opener. I extremely enjoyed it. So, this brings us into the first match that I'll go off and say I wish had a little bit longer. A little bit longer. to it. It was an extremely good match. And that was Charlotte Flair going up against Asuka. And yes, title versus streak, everything on that side. And this was a good match. A very good match. You know, in the terms of technical wrestling and everything that they were doing, they were countering each other all over the place. Charlotte busts out a Spanish fly from the top rope in this match. It looked extremely dangerous, but I think that's kind of how it was supposed to come off. In there, it looked really good. Kind of surprising to see that happen as well. And also, Asuka countering a moonsault and putting Charlotte into a triangle. These, like, just things that they were doing inside the match was really well done. Like I said, you had good back and forth throughout the entire match. It felt like that both of them were equals at all times. You had a spot in there as well that Charlotte seemed like she had injured her shoulder. And Asuka kind of played off of that for the rest of the match, trying to get the Asuka lock in and everything on that side. But before we get to the finish of the match, let's talk about the one thing at the beginning as well. Charlotte's entrance. They gave her a good entrance with the whole kind of a nod to the whole WrestleMania 30 entrance that Triple H had that she was a part of. So she came out like on you know, a big throne, and then you had like Spartans behind her to go along with it. It was really good looking. I thought it came off really, really well on that side. But back into the end of the match. This is one of those bits that I feel like it needed to go a little bit longer. It really did. I'm okay with the result in the end. But it's one of those bits that I just feel like you could have gone a little bit longer with this one, and maybe it would have come off even better at that point in time. So eventually Charlotte does lock in the figure eight in the match. Like towards the right at the end of the match, it's like she's going for it but gets kicked off, but then knocks back down Asuka again, and then gets the figure four on, and then gets the figure eight. And then I like the story element that she tells, because that Charlotte tells here, because she doesn't use the arm that had been injured, which was her left arm. So she's just standing doing the figure eight on one arm, on her right arm to go along with it. And then lo and behold, Asuka taps. And everybody was kind of in stunned silence on this one, because not only did they break Asuka's undefeated streak, they had her tap out. It was kind of nuts, and it came really quickly. It wasn't one of those like where she struggled to try to get out of the move. No, it happened almost immediately, and it was kind of nuts. And again, it was one of those that you felt that if it had maybe a little bit more time and a little bit more build to it, I think it would come off a little bit better. But in the end, it was one of those. Wow, they just did that in this match. After the match, you had Asuka basically get on the mic, say that Charlotte was ready for Asuka. They hug, and this was one of those very good ending with respect type things. And again, I enjoyed the match. I thought it was a really good match, just with an ending that maybe was a little bit... it could have used a little bit more time to it, I feel like. The ending came a little too quick at that point. But overall, extremely good. Like, probably one of the better matches of the night in the terms of technical matches and kind of story to go along with it. So after this, you have the Fatal 4-Way match for the United States title. So you have Randy Orton, Bobby Roode, Jinder Mahal, and Rusev. Match was what it was. It was a decent Fatal 4-Way. It wasn't anything great. It wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. The fun factor was if people did notice, and it took me a little while to fully notice, I kind of recognized it afterwards, but apparently Aiden English had gotten a haircut in between the Andre Battle Royal and then coming out to the coming out to sing Rusev out. Apparently, he got his head shaved in between that time. That was a little interesting of a tidbit there. The match itself wasn't much of anything. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't really good. It was just decent. Back and forth for everybody. Eventually, you have Randy Orton hitting a couple of RKOs. Bobby Roode hits a glorious DDT on Randy Orton. Jinder Mahal gets rid of Bobby Roode, and then it looks like Rusev's going to potentially win with an accolade, but it gets countered, and then Jinder Mahal hits the Colossus and wins the United States title. That's one of those. That's one of those moments that, yeah, it was what it was. The match was fine. It wasn't bad. But Jinder Mahal is the United States champion here. I really don't have a big problem with that. I don't have that big of a problem with Jinder Mahal, really. I would have loved to have seen Rusev win on this one. And maybe they will do something with that down the line. Who knows? But we'll see where they go with that one. So, up next. This was good. This was so much better than I thought it was going to be. It was Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey going up against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. This, well played on this match in every way, shape, or form. They got the crowd into it the entire time, and everything that they did in this match was absolutely great. Yes, did Stephanie technically probably get a little too much offense in this match? Yeah, she did, but they made it contrived enough, the reasons why she was actually getting the offense. So, like, she would do something cheating beforehand to gain the advantage over Ronda to actually get that. So, I'm okay with it in the end. Maybe she got a little bit too much offense in. Also, the factor that she was breaking, not necessarily breaking, but holding off the armbar on multiple occasions is a little bit contrived and everything. But in the terms of, like, as Ronda's first performance in a ring that wasn't like an actual fight, this was really good. Everything she had done, like, was really well done. She had good pace, had no hesitation in the ring, and even to the point that it seemed like she was even way too fast for Stephanie McMahon inside of that ring. Like, she was running circles around Stephanie McMahon in this ring, and it came off really good. I even like the little bits that they did with Triple H and Ronda Rousey, to the point that, like, he did oversell it a little bit, but the bit where she kind of started raining down punches on Triple H was really good. Even to the point that I was like, okay, what are they doing here? I think it's like that. Wow, they went there with it to the point of, like, what was it? It looked like Ronda was going to get a pinfall over Stephanie, and then he pulls out the referee. I love Ronda's line. It's like she calls him, like, the biggest cheater she's ever seen in his life. And it's like, you know what? I'm just going to continue beating up your wife. And it's like, whoa. And then as soon as she turns around, she gets tripped by Triple H and then pulled out of the ring. Okay, they actually went there with some of this kind of stuff. You didn't expect them to do anything like that in this match, even to the point that for a very quick, brief period of time, Kurt Angle had Stephanie McMahon in the ankle lock as well to go along with everything. The whole bit with Ronda facing off with Triple H, I love how Triple H is like, takes the ref, it's like, it will be fine, don't worry. And then Ronda starts raining punches on Triple H, was pretty good. And then eventually locking him in an armbar to go along with it. Some really good stuff here. You had a really good spot where you felt like you were going to get a double tap out, but then it was actually countered. So you had Kurt with Triple H in the ankle lock, and then Ronda was going for an armbar on Stephanie, and then, Triple H counters Kurt and then forces him into Ronda to break off that. I thought it was really well done. Even to the finish itself, I liked how they set up the finish. It looked like Stephanie was going to try to, not get caught in the armbar, but then you just had Ronda go like, like forcibly break her hands with her neck and shoulder. And then she just stares down Stephanie and wrenches back, and immediately Stephanie taps out. Best way of going. This came off so much better than I thought it was going to. And thumbs up to him on this one. Thumbs up to him to go along with it. So, but yeah, that out of the terms of pure entertainment for the night, I feel like that was probably the best match and just pure entertainment. The match quality itself and storytelling in the match was, it was good. It was very good quality, top-notch stuff. Well done on this one. And it makes me interested to see where Ronda's going down the line here to go along with it, because according to everything, she's a full-time performer now. So that's one of those moments, like, I know they probably had a lot of time to kind of work this match together, everything on that side, but it came off really good. I thought it came off really, really good to go along with it. And it'll be, like I said, it'll be interesting to see what they do with Ronda Rousey down the line here. So, up next here is going to be the Bludgeon Brothers versus the Usos versus the New Day for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. And this match was exactly what it needed to be. I'm going to leave it at that. I would have loved to have seen the Usos or the New Day really come out victorious here, but it does seem like they are going to be taking the Bludgeon Brothers seriously in some way, shape, or form. And this match was pretty much a glorified squash match. You know, Usos and New Day get a little bit of offense in here and there on each other and a little bit on the Bludgeon Brothers, but the Bludgeon Brothers just are too much for everyone. Like, even Xavier Woods took a powerbomb outside the ring onto the ring post, and then the match ended with it looking like that the Usos were going to get one over on the New Day, but then the Bludgeon Brothers get rid of the Usos. They get rid of Big E, and then they powerbomb Kofi off the middle rope to pick up the victory in the SmackDown Tag Team titles. It was what it was. It was what it was. It wasn't anything special. It was pretty much glorified squash match. Matter of fact, the next match right after this is also a glorified squash match, and by glorified squash match, it was a squash match. So the whole bit that they have been doing throughout the entire night, throughout the entire pre-show, and the first couple of matches as well, is that John Cena kept to his word, and he was going to show up as a fan. He was out there, and I liked how he was in the crowd for like all the pre-show matches, and then the first two matches, and he wasn't even like in Cena gear or anything. He was like in a WrestleMania New Orleans shirt and everything like that. He was playing it off as he was there as a fan to watch the show, and I found it really good. Like, they did do little bits where he was like doing things with the crowd, trying to. It was good stuff. It just came off very charming. I liked what they did there. You know, it came off really good. But after the Charlotte-Asuka match, they had a referee running down to the ring, and all of a sudden he jumps into the crowd. He tells Cena something that's like, "Oh, is Undertaker here?" or something like that. And all of a sudden you just see Cena belt over, which, like, contrivedly, if you really think about it, it's a fan jumping the barricades. Shouldn't security be stopping this guy? But he runs to the back like he's going to get ready for the match. So after the Bludgeon Brothers and that match happened, eventually Cena's music hits, and lo and behold, here comes John Cena out in green gear, everything on that side, looking ready for a match because he was told the Undertaker is there and he wants that match. So you know, he's getting ready, everything's going down. And all of a sudden, you had a referee in the ring, then a second ref comes down. It's like, no, we can't find the Undertaker, blah, 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 blah. He even gets angry to the point that he grabs the referee, gets extremely disappointed on everything, and all of a sudden, lights go down. It's like, what's going on? And then you hear the guitar strum, and lo and behold, the beginning of the trolling happened, and Elias was absolutely great. He walks down the ring. He calls himself better than The Undertaker, better than Cena itself. I like how Cena even goes back to his seat at one point in time until he got sick and tired of hearing Elias's voice. He jumps the barricade again, and lo and behold, beats up Elias. Yes, he kind of gets buried a little bit here. Well, a little bit on that one. He doesn't really get any offense in, and eventually hits an AA, and you know it's done. And they even play it off. It's like, okay, it's done. I mean, Undertaker's not here. And he even starts walking back up the rampway. And it was like, well, why not just go back to your seat at that point in time? But he starts walking back up the rampway. All of a sudden, again, the lights go out. And then they come, and then you just get like a purple glow into the ring. And you have the Undertaker's attire from last year that he left in the ring appear. Lightning bolt strikes it, lights go back out, it comes back on, that purple light comes back on, and then it's all like all the attire is gone. And then the lights go back out again, the gong goes off, and lo and behold, the Undertaker comes out. This was well played. All of this was well played, to the point that, you know, everything needed to be what it was. It was a squash match. Yes, the match happened with The Undertaker and John Cena. I think Cena got one backdrop in. And, what was it? Cena got one backdrop in. Otherwise, it was pretty much all Undertaker, including like a boot that got nowhere near Cena at that point in time. And it was what it was. Undertaker looked good for what it was worth, but it was only a 2-minute match. And it's what it needed to be. I mean, Undertaker's to the point is like he can't be going out there and having extremely long matches anymore. The fact that he had a 2-minute squash match with John Cena where he literally invokes his other supernatural power, which is the ability to see John Cena. Because when John Cena goes for the 5-knuckle shuffle, Undertaker sits up. I love Cena's reaction. He just backs off in complete fear. And then Undertaker just chokeslams him, tombstones him, and done. And it was done and gone. It was exactly what it needed to be. It was only 2 minutes, 3 minutes long. And yeah, it was a squash match, but if there's somebody who can take the squash match, it's John Cena. And well, like I said, do I want to see more Undertaker matches? No, I don't. I am a big fan of The Undertaker. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to see, like, long matches with The Undertaker anymore. This was fine. If this is the one-off and this is everything and the end of it, fine. I'm okay with that. They kind of give him his win back at New Orleans because he lost the streak there, so he gets a win back there. And it was fine for what it was worth at that point in time. You didn't necessarily technically advertise the match, though you had Cena's like, I want this match with The Undertaker. But no answer, no answer. So you didn't technically advertise that the match was going to happen. You only got a couple minutes out of it, which is what it needed to be. Which makes me even better that they didn't fully advertise it to go along with it. Because imagine if they did make the match and then like make the match weeks ahead of time, and then that's what you ended up getting. Yeah, kind of glad they went the route that they went in the terms of the build. So, but like I said, again, it was what it was, and I absolutely enjoyed it for what it was worth at that point in time. Again, do I want to see Undertaker doing more matches? Please no. Again, I said it last year. You know, the man has given so much to the fans. We don't need the last little bit of him to go along with it. So hopefully he is going to be retiring. We can't answer that question whether or not he is going to be retiring, because we thought it was happening last year. And it's like, oh, that was it. That was it. And then lo and behold, Undertaker shows up and has a match. So I'm not going to say that that was it, but if it is it, that's good. So let's bring this into the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon. And I'm going to preface this one that I wanted to be extremely hyped for this match because Daniel Bryan's back. you know, Daniel Bryan back in the ring, but I could not help myself throughout the entire match, especially when Daniel Bryan got into the match. It's like, please don't get hurt. Please don't get hurt. Please don't get hurt. And everything on that side. Now, don't get me wrong. You have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They're two massive professionals. They worked with Bryan plenty of times. So you figured he would be safe, but you never knew on that side. And, you know, the factor that he takes an impact test after every match as well to go along with it. Like, it was hard for me to fully embrace in the match knowing, like, Daniel Bryan's past at that point in time. Like, you know, extremely happy he gets to get back in the ring, but I think there's going to be a period of time for me that I'm always going to be worried that it's like, this might be his last one. This might be his last one. If he gets one more concussion, they may never let him back in again or anything like that. And that's one of those things. I'm going to worry each and every time because you don't want the guy to go out there and, like, get overly seriously injured in some way, shape, or form. I'm glad he's back. It seems like he's playing a little bit of a safer style. At least he's taken away the diving headbutt. He's still doing the drop kick off the top rope, but he is taking away the diving headbutt, so that's not there. So the match as a whole, actually decently told story. So you have Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon come out. So you had Shane come out first, and then Daniel Bryan come out to a chorus of yes chants. This was great. It was just like reminiscent of what happened in New Orleans 4 years ago. All the yes chants, everything going around. It was really, really well done. To go along with it, I like the fact that Kevin Owens' music hits, and instead of them coming down the ramp, they attack him from behind. They take out Shane, and then made it look like they take out Daniel Bryan by doing the apron powerbomb to him. So they kind of reminisced back to the triple threat match a few years ago, where Daniel Bryan was being stretchered out. So they brought the stretcher and everything. They had him checking this entire time the match starts, and you have Shane McMahon basically, well, take the beating and also give a little bit back. And, like, let's leave it at this. If that guy really did have a hernia, he's just proven that he is the gutsiest guy, period, in there. If he fully did have that hernia, doing a coast-to-coast and all the things that he did in this match. Really well done kind of story of him getting beaten down. He does hit a coast to coast to Sami Zayn. Eventually, Daniel Bryan comes back and gets the hot tag, and that's when things really picked up. Daniel Bryan doing everything he had normally done. You know, doing the kicks, doing the drop kicks in the ring. He does do the drop kick off the top rope as well, and just running wild. It looked like he had not lost a step inside of the ring, even to the point that he does a kip up after the missile drop kick, and eventually hits the knee on Sami Zayn. And lo and behold, he puts on the yes lock, and Sami Zayn taps out. Yes, they did actually go the kind of predictable route on that sense of everything, of Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon winning, and, you know, it was Daniel Bryan's first match back and everything on that side, and they weren't going to have him just lose, but you kind of expected him to do that with the factor that you had the whole Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens would be able to be back on SmackDown if they won, and you thought they might go that route, but they ended up not doing it to go along with everything. So match was pretty good. It was extremely exciting. Good to see Daniel Bryan back in there, but I cannot help myself but to think it's like, oh crap, every time he gets in the ring at this point in time. Maybe that will dissipate after a little while, but we'll see. We'll see on that one. So let's bring this to Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax for the Raw Women's title. This was pretty good. This was a decent enough match. Not a bad match. Crowd was a little bit dead for it, but not a bad match. I like the little story elements of Alexa Bliss. I'm not the biggest fan of Alexa Bliss. She's never really sold me as a very good character. She's good on the microphone. That's fine, but like character-wise, I've never really I've never really cared to dislike Alexa Bliss. Let's leave it at that. Her in-ring is also a little sketchy to go along with it, though. I thought her in-ring storytelling here was pretty good. I like the whole aspect of, you know, having her trying to get the advantage over Nia Jax, and she would continually go to the same eye. Like, I like the little snippet of, you know, she did the thumb to the eye once, and then she did the thumb to the eye again later in the match, and she went after the same eye to kind of intensify the pain in that one to go along with it. I like those little snippets in there. The bit with Mickie James getting destroyed at the beginning of the match was really well played as well. The match, a lot of people were kind of expecting it to be a squash, but it did go on for a little bit longer than that. And I thought they did some pretty good stuff in there on that side of everything. The match was fine. It was good for what it was. And then, you know, setting up for the finish where Nia had finally kind of gotten to Alexa Bliss and kind of beaten her down to the point, it's like, okay, she's going to hit the Samoan drop now. But instead of just hitting the Samoan drop normally, she goes to the middle rope and just drives Alexa Bliss down with a Samoan drop off the second rope and picks up the victory and gets the Raw Women's title. And I thought it came off pretty good. Crowd did basically pop for Nia. They definitely appreciated the fact that she got her time and is going to have the time with the women's title. This is the first time she's gotten any of them since main roster or NXT, so she's going to have some time with the women's title. See how they play that one off and where they go along with everything. And maybe are we going to get something with Asuka and Nia Jax now that Asuka's undefeated streak is now gone? And she never officially entered the SmackDown brand. She was still competing in all of her matches on Raw. She was just on SmackDown to confront Charlotte. So it'll be interesting to see where they go along with everything on that one. So, let's get these into the last three matches here. You have AJ Styles going up against Shinsuke Nakamura. How do I want to describe this one? Again, much like some of these other matches that I had said, especially with the Cruiserweight title and Charlotte and Asuka, it felt like we were just getting to know this match. And then it ended. But with the extra ending to go along with it, I thought it was really good to go along with that. The match itself was good. It was a good match. It doesn't live up to the standards of what AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura can do. Again, it felt like they needed more time in this match, and it just didn't happen. Whether it was affected by AJ's injury or anything like that, I mean, you were calling it a dream match the entire time and everything. And it felt like we were getting to that point that they were going to crescendo into an extremely good match, or even to like a great match. But then the ending happened. Like, they had good back and forth for a little bit. It was like you had the feeling out time, and you had the slow kind of build, and you're going to, you know, crescendo at some point. You had AJ hit the phenomenal forearm, but Nakamura had gains the advantage towards the end, going for the Kinshasa, and I love the counter. I love the counter of the Kinshasa where AJ rolls through, catches Nakamura and hits the Styles Clash, and he picks up the victory. It happened out of nowhere. That's what ended up happening, and I wouldn't say that. Like I said, it felt like we were just getting to know the match. That's where I was going with it. But in the end, AJ Styles picks up the victory. But that wasn't all. Much like the ending with Asuka and Charlotte, they started doing kind of a respect type thing. You know, Nakamura, you know, stops the referee with the belt and everything. And in the end, I feel like we're getting a full program, not just a one-off match, which is going to be great, I think. Hopefully it leads to something more down the line with this one, because Nakamura gets on one knee, is going to hand the title to AJ Styles. And you know, AJ grabs the belt. It's like it was going to be like a little bit of a respect moment, and then lo and behold, Shinsuke Nakamura with a low blow and goes full heel on AJ Styles, and that basically says like, okay, we're getting a full program here. A full program in every way, shape, or form. And we're going to hopefully see a more aggressive version of Shinsuke Nakamura out of this as well. Like, I love the whole aspect that he kicked him out of the ring and, like, he was just aggressively, like, paintbrushing AJ Styles' face with his foot, kicking him out of the ring. And then eventually, hitting the Kinshasa to win not win the match, obviously, but to leave AJ Styles lying, and he left. And Batman's in there. He wants to say something. Sure, go ahead. We got a few brief moments here. If you can go ahead and say something before we get into the last two matches of the night. So I will sit here and wait to see what comes. So, and also as we're waiting on there, at the end of the show, I will be picking the winners. Or not the winners. I'll be picking the winner who is going to be receiving these guys. We did have that giveaway going the entire time, so I will be picking the winner at the end of the show here. There we go. No, I don't feel like they buried him. That heel turn makes him maybe more with Jinder than with this. Maybe with Jinder that was more of a burial, but with this, that doesn't really bury him because AJ Styles has a reason to fight him still. Yes, he won the match, but now he's going to want some revenge after what happened after the match to go along with it. So I don't think it's a burial. I think it's more of a let's extend this program to go even more. And if it leads to more, it leads to a better match down the line, I'm all for it. But that's my opinion on it. But I do kind of respect the factor that, yeah, you would be a little bit worried that maybe they buried Shinsuke in this one, but with the factor of that heel turn, I think it kind of evens out the fact that he lost in this match. Now, if they did that if they did the loss without him doing the heel turn, then I would tend to agree with you on that one, but not in this case. I do not think they buried Shinsuke with him losing here on this one to go along with it. Because honestly, he kind of did get his big moment. He was the focal point after the match. It wasn't necessarily AJ Styles that was the focal point. Shinsuke was the focal point because of the heel turn, leaving AJ Styles lying, and showing a little bit of a different side of himself there. I thought it was well played. I wish the match was better. I really do. But like I said, if it's leading to more, let's go with it. If it leads to more and it leads to something even better, then I'm going to be absolutely okay with that. If it leads to almost nothing in the end, then it's like, why do it? But Shinsuke's doing something now, a little bit more and everything, so I kind of like where they went with it. So let's rock this into the second to last match. It was Sheamus and Cesaro defending the Raw Tag Team titles against Braun Strowman and somebody. We didn't know who. We still didn't know who, but we found out. Oh man, this was a very entertaining segment to go on in between the two main events. So what was it? Sheamus and Cesaro come out on a Mardi Gras float. To begin with, they drive it out there. They have all like the Mardi Gras people with the big giant heads on and everything. They do their entrance, and then Braun shows up. The bit was like the entire cart was still there and everything. He does his Braun thing and chases off all of the Mardi Gras people as they're running cartoonishly around. I thought it was pretty good. I thought this was very entertaining, and we are officially, and I'm going to kind of jack this one for my buddy who said it during the live stream last night. I think Braun Strowman is going to, he needs to create a new YouTube show, and the new YouTube show is Will It Move? It's like Braun Strowman's Will It Move, because he literally takes the cart and pushes it off the stage. I thought it was great. So he gets on there and said, it's like, I know you guys want to know who my tag team partner is, but there's a reason why I haven't told you. Because it's not someone in the back. It's one of you. And then he points out to the crowd. It's like, or you, or you, or you. And then he starts going down the crowd. And of course, instead of picking some person who would be comparable, Braun Strowman does what only Braun Strowman can do, because he did not really want a tag team partner, but he needed a tag team partner. He picks a little kid. You had a little kid. His name was Nicholas, to go along with everything. And of course, they did some good stuff here. Of course, you had Braun kind of controlling Sheamus and Cesaro for a while, but they gained the upper hand. I love the fact that we were just dying. We were just, like, on live stream, we were dying of laughter. This was great. This was good stuff. Like, Nicholas gets the hot tag, and the crowd goes nuts. And then he looks at Cesaro. Cesaro, even, like, mid-match, like, when he had control of Braun, was, like, started jaw-jacking him, which apparently Nicholas is the son of John Cone, the referee, as well. It did come out that he is the son of the referee that refereed that match. But not only did he referee that match, he refereed that match that he was that ref that took that fell like out of the ring and made the breaking of the ring even more impressive with the Big Show and Braun Strowman. So his kid was in this match, gets a hot tag, and then Cesaro just stares him down. It's like, and he runs back in and tags back in Strowman, and then Strowman eventually picks up the victory with a power slam and picking up the Raw tag team titles. Yes, Braun Strowman and a little kid named Nicholas, had to be 10 years old, are the Raw tag team champions. Does this technically bury the Raw tag team titles? No, it's Braun Strowman. If there's any person who could technically hold those titles by himself and it be believable, it would be him. Yes, the Bar's done really, really well as a tag team, and there's a piece of me that wishes that they didn't do it, but the segment was entertaining for what it was. I thought it was fun, but it leaves you with so many questions. It's like, wait a minute, doesn't this kid like have school the next day? Is he going to be doing a full-time schedule with everybody? Like with all the wrestlers, is he going to be part-time like Brock Lesnar? Or like, how is this working? How is this legal? Like, literally, how is this legal? Which they'll probably do something tonight on Raw to kind of do that, which is on in about 10 minutes. We're going to have to try to wrap this guy up. But, so let's take this into the main event. And as be it with a lot of the other matches for the night, first of all, my predictions were absolutely atrocious outside of, I picked Cedric Alexander, I picked Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey, got Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon, got Nia Jax, and got Strowman. So I got 5 matches right tonight. It's like I was Raw Tag Team Champions. Like he gets to say that now. That's great. That's just good stuff. But I got 5 matches out of the 13 right for the whole night. I was horrible on predictions, including with the last match, which, did anyone really see that coming? Everyone thought that the result of this match was made a year ago, when, like, this match was essentially made a year ago when Roman beat The Undertaker, and you had the two people that beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania kind of face off, though they didn't play that into the story at all. And then Lesnar won the Universal title from Goldberg. And good God, this match. They had a good match going on at WrestleMania 31. I have watched it back again, and it was actually pretty good. And then, of course, Seth Rollins puts it over the top by cashing in the money in the bank. But, man, no one cared. Like, the bell rang, and no one cared. Like, it was to the point that people was like, okay, we know the result. Let's just do this. At this point in time, I wish they would have ended it with Shinsuke and AJ Styles, and ending it with that moment of Shinsuke turning heel would have been great to go along with everything. But they decided to end with this match. Like, this match, it wasn't good. It really wasn't, because it was literally Brock Lesnar just suplexing and F5ing Roman Reigns, and all the offense that that Roman got was just Superman punches and spears, and they did this for like 15 minutes. That was the problem. It went too long of them doing that. They did start out frenetically, which was fine, but Roman, and think about this one for a couple minutes. Over the last year, they've built up the F5 so much that no one's kicked out of it. Think about the people that have taken the move and did not kick out once. Goldberg, Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman, AJ Styles, and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. He ate one F5, and he was done. So they built this up as like the unstoppable move that you're supposed to never kick out of. So when you kick out of it, it's like big pop. Roman kicked out of 5 of them, and with the first one, no reaction, nothing, no one cared. Any of the chants that you were hearing were either boring or this is awful. And I won't say it was absolutely awful, but it just got to a point of, I liked the build that they did, but the match that they put together, it didn't deliver. That is what ended up happening there. It just didn't deliver. They did boo Brock kind of as they expected, but they also booed Roman to go along with it. I think a lot of people were expecting that to be Brock's last night, but eventually, towards the end, after he kicked out of the 5th F5 in the match, and then gets busted wide open, by the way. Like, busted open the hard way. What was it? Lesnar did those elbows that he had done to Randy Orton and John Cena, and busted, like, badly busted open Roman Reigns in the match. And Roman hits, like, a Superman punch and a couple spears, goes for one last spear, and then, lo and behold, big F5, and it was done. Which, don't get me wrong, shocked us. Shocked us on live reactions. I think it shocked a lot of other people. It's like, wait, Brock won? What? I thought he would... What? Well played on swerving us. Well played on swerving everybody and kind of working everyone, even to the point of Dana White as well, kind of saying, it's like, oh yeah, when Brock Lesnar's obligations are up Sunday, he's coming back to the UFC. Well, his obligation with the WWE will be done on a Sunday, but apparently it's not going to be done on that particular Sunday, unless they do something tonight on Raw to go along with it. Who knows if they're going to be doing that? We'll find out here in a few minutes. But yeah, just... it seemed like Lesnar didn't care to a certain degree, especially towards the end of the match. There's even rumor that he had like very heated exchange with Vince in the gorilla position after the match as well. We don't have full details on that one, on what was said or anything like that, but apparently there was a heated conversation, and apparently Brock may have even thrown the Universal title at either A, Vince, or B, the Wall, or something like that. So there's that rumor going around. I'm sure we'll get more about what happened there later in this week. But the match itself just... It did not go over. It did not. I was kind of hoping for something good because they had something good going on in at WrestleMania 31, but we ended up getting kind of a dud. You gotta say what it is. It was a dud. It was a dud of a match. It just did not go over in any way. Yes, very shocking ending, but which was another night of like kind of shocking endings. A lot of people were kind of just expecting Asuka to win and Shinsuke Nakamura to win, so it was kind of shocking to see them lose. Even more shocking to see Shinsuke Nakamura turn heel. Though I may end out enjoying this. I may end out enjoying that particular one. That was well played. But yeah, this match this was the one match that was just like, man. And that's how they went off the air. That's the thing. A lot of the people didn't like the match in the crowd, and I think at home as well, they didn't really like the match. And that was your main event. That was how you went off the air. With all these other matches. Now, don't get me wrong. I still enjoyed WrestleMania as a whole. No, one match is not going to ruin the entire show to me. But it was what it was there. That's kind of how I play that one off. So, yeah. That's kind of my opinion on that one. It's just like, it went over. By winning over, it didn't go over at all. In the match. That's the best way of saying it. No one cared. People in the crowd just did not care. So, that is everything for WrestleMania. So, as also kind of advertised, how I've been advertising throughout the entire week as well. I had been doing a giveaway for the copy of WWE 2K18 Deluxe Edition and WWE Network card for 3 months. That these will be going together, by the way. And we have all the entries over on the contest. Actually, I'm going to switch screens here briefly. I'm hoping this works the way I think it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to work the way I'm thinking it's going to work. So we'll see what ends up happening. So let's switch screens real quick. And there we go. So there you're going to see, hopefully, the winner. The competition has ended. It's done. There's no winner picked yet. That's the thing. So we're going to pick a winner right now and see who wins the copy of the thing. And I'm kind of hoping that will pop up on the screen itself. That's what I'm kind of hoping it will do. But I don't know if it's going to do that. Otherwise, I will kind of say the winner. So let's do this. And let's draw. We are drawing. And the winner is... Alright. Will it pop up over here? Announce in widget. Yes. Announce with avatars. Yes, I want to announce it. Go. Does it pop up over here? It didn't pop up. Maybe if I refresh it. Dang it. I knew it wasn't going to work the way I wanted it to. Nope, it's not going to work the way I wanted it to. So, the winner is Wiz... Is that Wiz Pores? Wiz Pores. W-H-I-S-P-O-R-Z. So, you are the winner of the WWE 2K18 Deluxe Edition and the 3-month network, 3-month WWE Network card. Congratulations, sir, on winning that. I will be getting an email out to you this evening, hopefully, to request the address so I can send everything to you on that side. But again, congratulations, sir. I wish it would show up on the screen, but it did not. Of course that's how that worked. Of course that's how that worked, right? The things don't work the way I want them to. That's just how things go from time to time with me. They don't work the way I want them to. But with that being said, everybody, I thank you for tuning in for the WrestleMania review. I thank you guys for watching. Well, I thank you guys for who's watching this later. Thank you for tuned in during the live stream as well. Peace out, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day.